checking Yahoo for updates on anything new that's happening in the world. Because once again, for those of you who haven't followed my videos in the past, I don't watch the news or listen to the news. I don't like getting a slant from one side or the other, whether it's the left or the right. I don't care. I can make my own decisions real quick just by looking at a story or maybe going on YouTube and watching a video of if it's an important story, something that I might have an interest in knowing about. Not a lot happens, to be honest with you, that I'm interested in. I guess partly because I'm old and I'm not interested in pop culture, or for that matter, I'm not really interested in politics anymore. I'll follow it casually because I got to say one thing for Joe Biden. I didn't vote for him. And by the way, I'm not going to vote for any presidential, and I'm not going to vote in any presidential election in the future for a number of reasons, but primarily because it doesn't matter. The same thing happens regardless who's in there. Basically, the plan is the plan. Okay, if you know what I mean. If you don't know what I mean, then you're probably still buying all the mainstream media stuff. But at any rate, so I don't really care. Yahoo, for example, is very left-wing. They have a left-wing slant on virtually everything. But the reason I check Yahoo every day is because I go on to get the weather, and I use Yahoo to get the weather, and they're fine for that. They don't, as far as I know, they don't. They don't slant it to the left. Although it's funny I say that because they'll have a ton of articles about all the heat or the rain, which it's a weather page, and I understand that's probably normal, but it's always, hint, global warming. But that's fine too. I don't care. I just go on, check my daily weather, and go about my business. But I do like to, once a day or so, just scroll through and see if there's anything new going on. Now let's see what we got here. Arizona governor's pick for successor challenges Trump. So the Arizona governor, I think his name is Ducey. So Ducey is going to pick someone who's going to irritate Trump by going after his candidate. I have no idea whether she has a chance or she doesn't. I don't really care. So I'm not going to spend too much time on that. But that's fine. Trump's a big boy. If someone gets after him, he can handle it. And I don't think he should run for president again anyway. But again, I'm not participating in any presidential elections anymore. I swore several years ago I would never do it again. Then I got sucked in with Trump because the liberals make me so angry sometimes. But I don't follow it anymore. So the liberals just don't make me angry anymore. I find them rather amusing most of the time. And as I do the other side, I think they're both amusing. They're both spinning a yarn. I think the left spins a greater yarn, and that's why I find that funny. Now, Biden, I think the guy is hilarious. I like him. I mean, I don't like him as a president. He's terrible. But he's funny as hell. I mean, the way comedy is going in this country, everyone's getting canceled. Anyone who's good gets canceled because they say something funny and it offends somebody. Well, comedy offends people. That's what makes it funny. Remember they used to do those, back when I was young, they used to have these celebrity roasts, Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra and all the, Bob Newhart, Johnny Carson, all these really funny people would have these roasts, and they'd roast each other, and they'd go after each other mercilessly, pick on their frailties, I guess. And it made it funny, and they all had a good sense of humor. Nobody got mad, and it was funny because comedy is supposed to be funny. It's not supposed to be politically correct, and it's become politically correct, and it's not funny anymore. You take a comedian like Joe Rogan, he's terrible because he's afraid. He's got his big giant podcast, millions and millions of listeners. I think he's got, I don't know how many listeners, but a lot. He's got more than most not more than most. I think he's got more than the networks have for viewership. So, he's very careful about not offending the people who pay him. I forget the name of the company he works for, but it's a big media company. And so he does what he's told. He makes millions and millions of dollars. I think he signed some ridiculous contract for $300 or $400 million over a long-term deal. But so he's terrible. Bill Burr is terrible. He used to be a funny guy. Who else? I'm having a senior moment here, but there were some comedians who I thought were really, really funny back in the day. And like I said, Bill Burr was one of them. I used to really enjoy listening to him because he didn't have a filter. Now he's very filtered, very, very politically correct. So I don't like him anymore. I mean, not that I don't like him personally. I don't know him, but I don't care for his comedy now because it's filtered. I don't want filtered comedy. I want funny comedy. And I've always been a fan of comedy. I like good comedians. And, so if you're not funny anymore, I'm not going to follow you anymore. But anyway, that's where that is. So what's Biden up to? He is, without a doubt, Biden, but that was my point. Biden is, without a doubt, the funniest comedian in the world. And because he's totally unfiltered. I mean, the guy, let's face it, let's be honest. I shouldn't make fun of somebody who's obviously in decline, mental decline. And, I mean, you can watch him every day. Every day. They put clips up of, things he's doing, presenting medals. He presented a medal yesterday and put it on one of the people backwards, and he's smiling at him. And he's looking at him, and the guy's like looking at Biden as if to say, "Hey, you big dope. You got the thing on backwards," but the guy just smiles and shakes hands. He was a Vietnam veteran. And things like that. Joe is so funny because he thinks he's doing fine. And we're witnessing cognitive decline every day on television. And, you remember the story of the emperor has no clothes. We see it every day. The news media doesn't say anything. I mean, a couple of the Fox News people will say something and make a joke out of it, but nobody calls them on it. Nobody says to the press secretary, the president looks like he's in cognitive decline. Remember the time Trump was, I forget what he was doing. He was on an aircraft. I think it was an aircraft carrier or a battleship. And after he made his speech to the troops, he was walking and he had dress shoes on. Okay. And if you've ever been on a ship, not that I've been on a lot of them, but I have been on a couple, it's a very slippery surface, and they wear, rubber shoes because it's slippery, and nobody wears leather shoes on a ship, except politicians. They're in their suits, and who knows if somebody didn't tell them or should have told them, or maybe nobody thought of it. At any rate, so Trump was smart enough, knowing that it was slippery. When he was walking very slow and gingerly, and the press accused him of being in cognitive decline, and did he take a stroke? And again, I'm not sticking up for Trump. Trump can take care of himself. Trump was the funniest comedian in the world until Biden took over. So, but they had no problem going after him. But Biden does worse on a daily basis, and nobody goes after him. Nobody calls him on it. In the left-wing media, especially, they never, ever say anything. They never ask the press secretary, do you think Joe might be in cognitive decline? But they had no problem asking Trump's, press secretary if he was, if he was losing it and if he had taken a stroke. So, it's all, none of it's on the level. Okay, as long as you know that, you'll be fine. But I don't care. I find it funny now. This is my comedy. I can't go anywhere to see real comedy anymore. So I depend on these people like him, politicians, to give me my comedy. Well, what's this say? Ex-Trump aide Peter Navarro says the former president should pick Ron DeSantis as his 2024 running mate instead of losers like Nikki Haley. Huh. So, yeah. Or Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley. Yeah, I mean, if Trump were to run and I was his campaign manager, I would say that would be a good VP pick. But it seems like Ron DeSantis wants to run for president. So, and Trump had some not so nice things to say about him, as I recall, as I was scrolling through yesterday. He called him a traitor or an idiot or something. You know how Trump is. But, I think, I think that would be a good pick. But let's see what Navarro has to say. Navarro said a Trump-DeSantis ticket would be unstoppable and called on the pair to consider it. He also advised Trump to steer clear of losers like Nikki Haley, Ted Cruz, and Josh Hawley. I said that before. What else? Anything interesting here? Navarro expanded on his choices in an opinion piece Thursday in which he urged Trump to pick a running mate who is not just mega simpatico, but a true populist, economic nationalist cut from the same cloth. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, if I were his advisor, I'd tell him the same thing. I think based on, JoJo's popularity rating, I mean, Trump could pick, a Trump DeSantis would crush them because people like DeSantis, number one, and a lot of them still like Trump. So between the two of them, they're very popular and among Republicans at least. And I think that most Democrats, sensible Democrats, I'm not talking about crazy liberal Democrats, realize that Joe is in some deep decline and they're paying the same prices the Republicans are at the gas tanks, and all of their costs are going up, and food costs are going up. And I don't see a whole lot of relief in sight with the economy based on what I've been hearing. I'm not an economist, but things based on what I've been hearing, we haven't seen anything yet. I mean, gas prices, I don't think they're going to go much higher than $5.50 or whatever, but I think food prices are going to go up. And that's another thing I would just give you a tip is get a relationship with a local farm if you can, and try to buy in bulk if you have a freezer, and just prepare for some really high prices. I think could be as high as 40% increases in food down the road. So that's a substantial hit for most people, and could be the difference between making it with your paycheck or not making it. So that's something to think about. So anyway, I think that's probably a good pick for Trump if he were to do that. I don't care because I wouldn't vote for them anyway. But just out of interest, I would say that's probably a good pick. 12 of the most daring look celebrities wore during fashion in Paris. No, I don't care about that. NASA reveals details about James Webb Space Telescope's first full color images. Yeah, my feelings on NASA is most of their stuff is produced at a movie studio. That's just my opinion. I'm a conspiracy theorist, so I'm not going to go into that. But no interest in that. Let's see. Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker are neck and neck in Georgia poll. Oh, interesting. I like Herschel Walker. I always liked Herschel Walker. He's a great football player, and I was a big sports fan. I saw Herschel play many, many times in college, and also as a professional with the Dallas Cowboys. So, big fan of Herschel Walker. Seems like a nice guy. Seems like a fairly bright guy. So let's see what Yahoo has to say about him. They don't like Republicans, so I'm sure they'll have some little innuendos. They'll usually give you the story, but there's little side innuendos. Let me read and see what it is. I haven't read the story. So Georgia is already a hotbed of political spending as Democrats try to maintain their momentum in the state. And a new poll shows the race between former NFL player Herschel Walker, the Republican, and incumbent Senator Raphael Warnock, the Democrat, is neck and neck. A survey by Data for Progress conducted between July 1st and July 6th, exclusively shared with the Daily Beast, shows Walker narrowly leading Warnock by 49% to 47%. Both candidates fell into negative favorability ratings as Walker received a minus 3 favorability, while Warnock received a -7. So that's good news for Walker. I mean, he's got negative popularity. But I think in a state that knows his prowess on the football field, I think that gives him a big advantage, especially since Warnock, I understand, is, he's, whether he likes it or not, he's part of Joe Biden's coattails, and I'm sure he won't want any part of him on the campaign. None of them want any part of him on the campaign because this guy cannot help you. He can only hurt you. They will avoid him like the plague. And I understand there have already been a couple of political events where they have not shown when Biden's appeared in their states. They just didn't go to them. And, when a sitting president visits your state, regardless of whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, if you're a mayor or governor, or you generally attend out of courtesy to the president. So let's see. I guess that's about it on the Herschel Walker Warnock deal. So again, I don't live in Georgia, but I would root for Herschel Walker because I like him. He seems like a nice guy. I've heard him speak a few times. He seems very respectful and very polite and articulate. I like him. So there you go. Why Rep. Liz Cheney had a front row seat at Biden's Presidential Medal of Freedom ceremony. Well, I don't have to read that story. I'm pretty sure I know the reason why. She's going after Trump regarding the January 6th fiasco. And I remember watching that, and it looked really ridiculous to me. The guy with the big horns on and stuff. It was just the joke, and I kept on yelling at my computer, "Don't do it! It's a trap!" When they were walking in the place, and I'm watching them, and then I thought to myself, if you're going to do it, make a splash. But they didn't. So, but now they're going to face some big time, possible jail time. A lot of them already are. And I kept yelling, "Don't do it! It's a trap! It's a trap! This didn't look right. It didn't look like a takeover. It looked like people walking in for a tour and nobody was really bothering them, almost like they were being sucked in by the bait." But anyway, that's their business. I hope they get out of jail. I don't think they deserve to be in jail, most of them. But anyway, I knew it was fake. I knew not fake, but I knew they were there. But I knew they were being led into a trap. Anyway, what else we've got here? Chinese diplomat says reunification with Taiwan near. Cites China's growing comprehensive strength. Okay. Let's see. Kremlin official suggests Russia could one day try to reclaim Alaska from the U.S. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. The U.S. purchased Alaska from the Russian government for $7.2 million in 1967. Wow, even in 67, that was a good deal. Putin would love to get that back. When to delete cookies and when it's just an ad. The Secret Service Director James Murray has stepped down. They're good. Have a nice life. Let's see what else we got here. Sanctioned Russian billionaire Roman Abramovich hired lawyers costing $1,500 an hour days after a U.S. warrant to seize his two jets. Yeah, whatever. I don't care what I mean. Let's see. Don't vote for that party's Mexican president slams Texas migrant policy. Don't vote for that party. Mexican president slams Texas migrant. This will be favorable to the Democrats. Usually. I could be wrong. But knowing Yahoo, he's probably telling not to vote for a Republican. But we'll see. I could be dead wrong. Let's see. Mexico's president on Friday attacked the governor of Texas' latest steps to crack down on unauthorized migration, saying he would urge voters of Mexican origin in the United States not to vote for anti-immigrant candidates. So he's telling them not to vote for a Republican sitting governor. That's fine. I have no problem with that. I think Mexicans in general, especially if they're legal citizens, they like tough policies because the ones who came here legally, they came the right way. They paid the price. They didn't get special privileges. So I'm guessing that will backfire on that president. But what do I know? Okay, it's not super interesting, but I'm trying to find something that's kind of amusing. But some days I go through and there's a lot of amusing things. Other days, Marjorie Taylor Greene tells Alex Jones running for president is not something I don't consider. I don't think she should run for president, but I kind of like her. She's kind of outspoken, and I like outspoken people. They throw monkey wrenches around, I like it. But not enough to back up the president because I don't vote for president as a repeat continuously throughout this. Let's see what else we got here. It's not much today, gang, so I'm probably going to wrap it up. And I was hoping to find something kind of amusing. Maybe tomorrow. I'm going to try to do these every day, or every few days anyway, every couple of days. And if I find something amusing, I will jump on and do it. So anyway, if you're watching this video, thank you. And subscribe so the next time I do one of these, you'll be notified. Thanks. This is JW signing off.